It's about that time of day again, 7:45 a.m. Eastern Time here. Normally we begin about 7:30 a.m., so thank you so much for your patience here. I've been gone for over a week, had a wonderful trip to China, did some live trading in China for the last, 5, 6, 7 days. Enjoyed quad witching back here in the States. Hope you guys had a great quad witching week last week. Remember quad witching, the third week of every 3 months. That was last Friday, so of course, a little bit of a pseudo-traders holiday last week, so many of you were probably also taking some time off from the markets. If not, hope you guys had a great week of trading last week. Welcome back. It is now the week of the 23rd of September. We're going to the last full week of the month of trading. And, of course, here we are with our crude oil morning prep. With me this morning, I've got my partner in crime, my better-looking half, Mr. Marty Errico from TradersAudio.com. Check him out every morning, 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. They open up their live broadcast on the NYMEX exchange. And, of course, you can come see me every day of the week, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time in my live trade room at SchoolOfTrade.com. Let's jump right into it this morning. Once again, my name is Joseph. I'm a technical analyst. I'll provide you guys with a top-down approach this morning using charts to analyze what happened over the past few months, the past few weeks, the past few days. And, of course, we're going to wrap it up by looking at what happened over the past few hours, specifically what happened coming out overnight. If I can look at what happened in the past, I can usually predict what's going to happen in the future. And by looking at the last few hours of the session overnight coming out of London, I'm usually able to anticipate direction at the open. By anticipating that direction at the open, I can now look for those high percentage trading opportunities. In other words, if I know what personality I'm looking for, then I can, of course, look to trade that personality when I see it show up on my charts. We're looking for trades this morning starting as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The opening bell on crude oil for the trading floor is at 9 a.m., so we have plenty of time here before we take our first few trades of the morning session. Once I'm done with you, I'm going to toss you all the way across the country from Los Angeles to the NYMEX exchange in New York City. I've got my partner in crime, Marty Errico, along with me. Don't forget to check him out every morning at TradersAudio.com for his live broadcast in the NYMEX exchange. He's talking market direction, intermarket divergence, market internals, option prices, and those always very important, those pit session trading levels each morning. Now, kids, if you're following along at home, pay attention when Marty's speaking towards the end because he's going to talk about those pit session trading levels. These trading levels are very different than the levels that I use on my screens here in my home office in Los Angeles. So we're going to see some differences between the trading levels that we see between, of course, the regular trading hours that Marty uses and the electronic trading hours that I use in our live trade room. All right, without any further delay, let's jump right into it. Now, as always this morning, I've got our updates done on the blog before we begin. So head on over to sidewaysmarkets.com and check out the update here for today's morning prep. As we always do each morning, we begin to set the stage on what we're working with this morning. Let's begin looking at some of the focus points we have this morning that will affect pretty much all of us. But, of course, we will stay focused on crude oil futures this morning. Focus points this morning, traders return to their desks after quadruple witching, right? That pseudo holiday, that traders holiday last week. So remember, we're coming back to our desks after quad witching. That means a lot of us, myself included, are going to be getting back into the routine, back into the rhythm. Combine this with a Monday morning. Mondays are always going to be a little bit slower to start because it's a Monday, because there hasn't been any action this week. Lots of anticipation here this week, lots of excitement ahead of a new week. But we know that Mondays, especially a Monday coming in after quad witching, is probably going to be a little bit sluggish to begin. We continue to see news out of China. September's PMI readings continue to impress the analysts, suggesting the economic expansion will continue. This will bleed into the U.S. markets, and of course, news overnight, remember, is quickly digested by the U.S. traders once U.S. traders pick up the newspaper, right, or head over to Bloomberg or whatever news site they're going to use today for their economic news. So news happens overnight. We pick up on it right away. We know people will be watching and reviewing that news as they get to their desks this morning. That's why it's important. The debate over Fed tapering continues. Boy, you might have been hiding under a rock the past 10 days, if you guys recall. It was last week, right? Last Wednesday. Sorry, I was stuck in a time warp from the future going back and forth from Los Angeles to China. It really does throw you off a little bit there because you, of course, skip a whole day when you go there and you get a day when you come back. But while I was there, obviously, keeping up with this Fed tapering discussion. We heard from the Fed FOMC report last Wednesday, last Thursday, the reaction to that news. Markets are really moving well right now. Of course, we saw crude oil back off those highs, metals markets backing off those highs now. Everybody kind of walking back from the ledge here as far as the debate over Fed tapering being as urgent as we initially thought it was. So they put the Fed tapering on the back burner, but of course it doesn't stop all the traders and analysts from discussing this issue. Silver futures, most notably, has really tumbled off its highs, and that really shows what traders are seeing this meaning. This means, of course, economic slowdown. Well, the economic recovery has picked up. Obviously, though, the Fed needs a little bit more time before they're going to start that tapering. So the discussion continues. This morning here in the news worksheet, Monday is filled with Fed speakers. Only one news event this morning. It's just before the opening bell at 9 o'clock. Just one news event this morning. But we do have the day just littered with Fed speakers. Now, Fed speakers are important because we always know there's going to be a reaction to what they say. So we will keep a close eye on it. We're going to be listening in to what they say today, and we'll be watching to see any reaction on the tape. Furthermore, also too, since I've been gone for a week, many of our futures markets have rolled forward to the next contract month this morning. Are you aware of that? You need to be. Now, crude oil has not changed since the last time we spoke. We're still in the 1013 contract. We do have, though, an update to the euro, 12.13 on the euro. Gold has been trading at 12.13 for some time now, so no real change there. But one thing you do want to make note is the mini Russell has not rolled over yet. It's going to be rolling over to the 12.13 here, probably pretty soon, maybe later on today, tomorrow. Right, so we got 33.49. Volume is higher on the Russell. So that's the only futures market that we don't have rollover for yet. All right, and of course, if you look at your if we look at your market analyzer for crude, we can see volume here for the 1013 still above the 1113. That will probably roll over later on today, right? Now the pit traders out there will have already rolled forward. All the electronic traders out there will be watching closely for the 1113. Yep, and as I speak right now, it's just about 30,000 contracts. So we're almost there, right? Perfect. So look for later on today for the expiration on crude for all electronic traders. Sounds like the pit has already rolled forward on crude. Again, just getting caught up here after a week away. Looking at today's news here, again, we have just one major news event, but a morning that is littered with Fed speakers. We've got PMI manufacturing just before the opening bell at 9 o'clock. And, of course, we got 9:20 and 9:30. We got Dennis Lockhart, William Dudley, and we got my good friend, Mr. Richard, a.k.a. Dickie Fisher, at 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. Again, Fed speakers can be pretty important because there will be reaction to what they say, especially since this Fed tapering discussion continues. Now, moving on to some charts here now. I had to restart my charts earlier this morning, so I am a little bit behind the eight ball right now, so I'll go right to the blog here, and we'll begin here with our first anchor chart. Our first anchor chart shows us with a dramatic long-term bearish trend. And, of course, you'll notice here we've added on our wave sequence, and our wave sequence shows us a nice 1, 2, and we are looking for our third wave right now. Now, whether you watch Elliott Wave, whether you're an ABCD trader, whether you're a harmonic trader, we know the 1, 2, 3 punch is always going to be very powerful. So we are looking for a short trade here this morning, possibly later on today or even tomorrow. One thing we know right now is we got some new lower lows. Pretty easy to see that bearish channel. The new lower lows tell us that we do have sellers are initiating activity to the downside. So we do have sellers that have pushed that price to new lower lows. That initiating activity will result in buyers entering the market to push price higher. People take profit on their shorts. People, of course, get out of the market with their profit intact, and, of course, price will rise. I'm going to be looking for now some spots here to sell short so I can, of course, take advantage of the reactive trading activity, right? As people initiate lower lows, other traders will come in and react to that by selling, right, the retracement. We'll use the wave pattern, right, to look for that short. We dig in a little bit faster now, and we begin to see exactly what this is showing us. And now we can see here that we have levels at 106.66 and 107.99. Those are going to be very important here as we go into the session today. Most importantly, we can see we're coming in at the low of this bear channel. So naturally here now, I'm looking for the low to hold as support. Once again, as I said earlier, we saw initiative selling activity pushing to a new lower low. That tells us the sellers are interested in playing ball with us. Now we're going to wait for some responsive, right? People will respond to that initial activity to sell short. They'll respond by taking profit. They'll respond by the support. And of course, we have a couple options now today. One option is we will buy, very short term here obviously, up to a target of 106.66. The initial target is 106.66. If you want to hold a runner, 107.99 becomes a very good target for a runner if you're looking for a runner target. I'm going to look at 106.66 for my target here this morning, and then I'm going to look for the reversal so I can sell short along with the long-term trend. Again, initiating activity pushed it lower. We expect now to see some reactive buying pressure and selling pressure thereafter. Now remember guys, we do have some news here at 9 o'clock, so watch that news at 9 o'clock. Remember, we do have 3 Fed speakers today, and we do expect to see contract rollover here electronic to the 1113 contract on crude oil. Now that I'm done with you, my goal is short-term buying, long-term selling on crude. Let's now jump all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange because I'm anxious to hear what Marty's seeing on the pit. I've been gone for almost 10 days now, buddy. I hope all has been well over there on the trading floor. What are you seeing over there? Are they still talking about this this Fed tapering issue? What's the story out there, Marty? Great to have you back.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back. Alrighty, so really, I mean, over the last couple of days, we kind of been watching reality sinking in over the last few days, right? With that huge pump up from the Fed, related then to the big downtick from the Fed, right? So what I'm focusing on so far this morning is opening up above 104.5, excuse me, opening up above 104.5. Now you can see, right, it's JJ was just saying, right, we initiated those sells below the low, right, we hit 104.10, we're bouncing back up. Now if we open up above this 104.5 level, which was the low from Friday, we could continue to look longer, and we could definitely come in and buy these lows, right, and see some long initiation up to that 106 that JJ was speaking about, right? Personally, we're going to be looking for that 104.5. I'm not going to do anything else until I see 104.5. If we get an opening print above that, then we could buy. I think it's safe to say we can do a little bit of buying up to those 106s and then look to sell that high. Or if we open up below, right, 105.5, we can still look to sell, and then definitely look to sell retracements below the 104.10. Easy game plan of attack, right? Play both sides of the market, right? As JJ said, they want to play ball, we could play ball. Same exact thing here, guys, on the longer time frame. I mean, it's just zoomed it in for you guys, make it short and sweet. Looking at your products this morning, RBOB heating oil, right? They've been both giving us a little bit of weakness here. They're in the Novi contract, rolling on over. They're expiring in a couple days. That's the RBOB and heating oil, right? RBOB right now around 266.40 on about half penny, and your heating oil around 3 even half. So we're all on major support. It's all about if we open above that major support and we can get some buying in there, or we open below the major support and we end up selling retracements. So it's kind of the same thing for the RBOB and the heating oil, which is great. Brent crude, November contract has been and continued to be also kind of trading around that 109 even level, still around the major level support. Really hasn't moved around yet, so we're going to have to really kind of watch that Brent crude in the November contract. Brent WTI spread, as we speak, has been in contango just a bit, so that's actually giving us fuel to the bullish fire if we open up above that 104.5 level in the pit session. So I'm all aboard for some upside. Let's real quickly take a look here over at dollar index as well, right? Dollar has been trading a little bit lower, fuels the upside for the bulls. Real quickly, just taking a look at some levels now, guys, as we took a look here at your crude. Real quickly on natural gas as well. How about I do this here? Natural gas, we're looking at these 365s. If we can break below these 364 halves, we'll get down to 360, and then we'll come in and try to buy these lows, right? We're going to come in and try to buy lows on natural gas here, right? And look for some upside. But I'm telling you, first and foremost, we have to get below 364 half, right? In the in the October contract to see those 360s and buy at 360s. Real quick, I was on natural gas. Now let's go over some levels here this morning, right? You guys see the levels for Monday, the 23rd of September here. We're looking at Friday's pit session high. Friday's pit session high was up at 105.96. Low, 104.50. Hey, 104.50, remember that level? Yeah. Closing settlement number was at 104.85. Right? Remember we were watching a series of levels on Friday. It was 104.50, 104.80, and 105 even. And look what happened, you know what I mean? So look how we're holding these levels, so we can obviously look to buy if we can get above, right, that low from Friday. Resistance up above, I got 105.70. I got 106.60, 106.56, and 108.02. Support down below, I got 104.24, 103.64, and 102.18. Volatility has been getting sold off quite significantly, right? I mean, you can just literally short volatility and you'll be making money. So volatility after the Fed obviously just really kind of sold off big time, and like I mentioned, you could probably sell vol still this week and still make money. So volatility has been falling around 22% this morning on the implied. The OVX has been taking somewhat of a nosedive off of that $30 level of 21.50. Real quickly, just looking over into your natural gas now, you can see pit session high 370.20, the low is at 365.60, closing settlement number 368.80, daily pivot today 368.20, with resistance above at 370.80, 372.80, and 377.40. Support down below, these are levels that we're going to come in and try to buy. I really have 360, I messed this up here guys, it's 363 and then 362. So we have 363.60, 362 even, and 359 even, and we're going to come in and try to buy those levels of support, right? Very simply. Volatility has been actually just kind of holding steady. We're ready to roll here, guys, on natural gas, to be honest with you, into the Novi contract. So last few days of October this week, once we have the options expiration on Wednesday, that's when I'll be rolling over to the November contract. So if you're looking at the volume, I really wouldn't even gauge that, because it's all about how the spread reacts and how the November comes more into October's price, and then we'll be able to see the roll. So many people hold off until like the last day of expiration, or at least till options expiration on natural gas. So that's when we'll be rolling, right? Okay, so those are your levels, guys, for your crude, for your natural gas, right? That's the dealio that's happening on the trading floor so far this morning. Again, we're about to rock and roll here, just actually running solo today, bell to bell, so I'll be here all day, right? Bell to bell. So I will see you guys in just a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to throw it back on over to JJ in Los Angeles as we are ready to rock and roll here on a Monday at 8 o'clock.
As always, Marty, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you guys so much for your patience. We got back on track here this morning. And as always, would love your feedback, guys. Send me an email, jj@SchoolOfTrade. That's marty@tradersaudio.com. Don't forget to go out and see Marty every morning, 8:50 a.m. over on the NYMEX exchange. Head over to tradersaudio.com. And, of course, as always,